From the heart of the 16th century, a chilling warning might have been left for us, for a time that many interpreters believe is our very own, the year 2025. They speak of a war unlike any other, a conflict not won with armies, but lost through empty national bank accounts. Nostradamus, arguably the most famous prophet in history, wrote 942 cryptic four-line poems, known as quatrains. For centuries, people have debated their meaning, claiming they have foreseen everything from the rise of Hitler to the tragedy of 9/11. Though, as academics point out, these connections are almost always made after the events happen. Still, within these mysterious writings, modern interpretations point to a frightening sequence of events for 2025. They describe a global conflict so vast it could push nations to the edge of financial ruin. But what did his verses actually say? And could the anxieties of our world today be making us see patterns that aren't really there? Let's explore the three phases of this interpreted prophecy: a grueling war of exhaustion, a total economic collapse, and a final, apocalyptic showdown. The War of Exhaustion. The first stage of this 2025 interpretation isn't about a swift victory, but a slow, grinding decay. Interpreters often point to a quatrain that reads, "Through long war all the army exhausted, so that they do not find money for the soldiers. Instead of gold or silver, they will come to coin leather." Of course, Nostradamus never mentioned countries by name, but many today see the ongoing war in Ukraine as a grim reflection of this vision. Think about what those words suggest: a war that drags on for so long that the state itself starts to break down. Armies, symbols of national power, become too expensive to fund. The verse even implies a desperation so deep that nations might turn to printing money on worthless materials, a powerful symbol for wealth completely evaporating. Are we seeing a prelude to this now? The Russia-Ukraine war has become a colossal drain on resources for both sides, and for the Western nations supplying aid. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been spent, and the economic strain is a daily headline for many countries. Interpreters claim this is the kind of scenario Nostradamus was warning about: a conflict that becomes a black hole for money and manpower, a quagmire with no easy exit. The quatrain also mentions Gallic brass and the crescent sign of the moon, which some speculate could refer to France and Turkey trying to broker peace, drawn in by the sheer exhaustion of the main fighters. This isn't a prophecy of a single, decisive battle. It's a vision of a war that bleeds nations dry, leaving them fragile and unstable. It's a world where the cost of conflict becomes so high that the very foundations of our financial systems could start to crumble, leading into the second, even more terrifying phase: the global economic meltdown. As the interpreted war of attrition drains the world's treasuries, the supposed second phase begins: a total global economic meltdown. Nostradamus's verses are filled with images of financial ruin, and those who study his work believe they point to a catastrophic economic event around 2025. One quatrain that gets cited warns, "The great empire will fall and be divided, wealth and power shifting to the east." For centuries, the West has been the center of global economic power. But what if a prolonged war was the trigger that finally upended that order? Imagine a scenario where the massive debt from funding a conflict sparks a domino effect. This isn't just a recession. Interpreters see this as a prophecy of a complete system failure. In this view, Nostradamus's writings paint a grim picture of the human cost. He describes a period of great financial struggle, where people lose their fortunes and nations face bankruptcy. Some interpretations go even further, trying to connect other verses to modern anxieties like climate change. They point to lines about, "The rivers will dry, the crops will wither," as a sign that economic collapse will be amplified by environmental disasters. However, linking these 16th century writings to modern climate science is highly speculative. When money loses its value and resources become scarce, what happens to society? People can become desperate. Some believe the prophecies foretell a time of widespread social unrest, where citizens, driven by hunger, rise up against their leaders. It's a world teetering on the brink. Is any of this plausible? We can see the warning signs in our own world. Global debt is at an all-time high, and geopolitical tensions are constantly disrupting supply chains. The prophecies of Nostradamus, seen through this lens, aren't just an ancient curiosity. They reflect a very modern fear that our interconnected global system is more fragile than we think. Before we get to the third and final interpreted phase of this prophecy, if you're finding this exploration of historical mysteries interesting, take a moment to subscribe. We're always looking into what the past might tell us about our future. The Apocalyptic Showdown. Out of the chaos of global war and economic ruin, interpreters believe Nostradamus described the rise of a new, terrifying figure, leading to an apocalyptic showdown. One of his more mysterious quatrains states, "From the depths, a ruler will rise, in the midst of floods reaching to the skies. Empires will fall, and new waves will reign." Who is this ruler? The prophecy is, as always, ambiguous. Some believe this figure will be a charismatic leader who emerges from the turmoil, promising order but delivering tyranny. In a world broken by war and poverty, a strong, decisive voice could be dangerously seductive. But it's the climax of the 2025 interpretation that's the most chilling. Interpreters point to a verse that warns of a cataclysm from the heavens. From the cosmos, a fireball will rise, a harbinger of fate, the world pleads. This fireball has been interpreted in two terrifying ways. The first is literal, an asteroid. Scientists are always monitoring near-Earth objects, and while astronomers have confirmed there is no known major impact threat for 2025, the idea remains a powerful one. However, a second, more sinister interpretation exists. Could the fireball be a metaphor? In our age of advanced weaponry, some believe this verse refers not to a rock from space, but to the ultimate man-made weapon, a nuclear bomb. The line about a cosmic dance between science and fate seems to eerily echo the development of atomic weapons, humanity's greatest scientific achievement becoming its potential doom. In the context of a desperate, endless war, the use of such a weapon becomes horrifyingly plausible. Whether it's a leader born from chaos, a rock from the sky, or a fire of our own making, the interpretations all point to a world-altering climax. A moment where humanity faces near total destruction before getting a grim, second chance to rebuild. So, what should we make of all this? Is 2025 destined to be the year a devastating war pushes us past the breaking point? The scholarly view is clear. Nostradamus's prophecies are famously vague. They are written in such a cryptic style that they can be retroactively fitted to almost any major event. Critics correctly point out that no quatrain has ever been used to predict a specific event in detail before it happened. His writings are a masterclass in ambiguity, allowing every generation to see its own fears reflected in his 500-year-old verses. And yet, the interpretations persist because they tap into the very real anxieties of our time. The threats of war, economic instability, and disaster aren't fantasies from a 16th century book. They are the defining challenges of our world today. Whether Nostradamus truly saw our future or simply understood the timeless patterns of human conflict is impossible to know. Perhaps the true value of these prophecies isn't in predicting the future, but in forcing us to confront the present. They act as a dark mirror, showing us a potential path we're on, a future born from the choices we make today. The real question isn't what Nostradamus predicted, but what we will do to prevent such a chilling vision from becoming our reality. What do you think? Are these prophecies a warning we should consider, or are they just ancient poetry? Thanks for watching and subscribe to our channel.